Every day, countless videos hit the internet from around the globe from people who believe they have witnessed something paranormal. And as more and more cameras are pointed at the world around us, it is becoming clear there may be something else out there. Welcoming a new baby into the home is a joyous occasion that can also be quite scary for new parents, and not just because of the lack of sleep. And as parents increasingly rely on baby monitors to check in on their little angels, reports of potentially demonic activity picked up on these cameras have been happening more and more. Running hours at a time, nanny cams are always watching and are able to see what parents might otherwise miss, sometimes to shocking results. In this footage from 2016, an Australian mom named Jade Yates was checking in on her sleeping daughter and suddenly got the fright of her life. Keep an eye on the bottom right corner of this crib.
I would assume this is like relatively horrifying to see a ghost in your child's room.
If it was my kid and I saw this, I would be definitely freaked out. I mean, and then you know there's like something going on in your house that you might not want around your child.
It's really strange, but I think that the way that it's kind of just like moving back and forth, it kind of almost seems like it was comforting the baby. And I think that it could be friendly, like maybe it's the spirit of like a grandma or something.
There's a great theory in haunting of, they call them deathbed apparitions, and after somebody passes, they seem to kind of check in on family members.
That may be the case for the toddler son of Mary Katz, a Texas mother who observed this strange activity on her monitor back in 2017.
Sounds like a man is in there going bum bum. I sent it to my sister-in-law. It's like, hey, I don't know how you feel about this sort of thing, but here it is. This is what happened. Just thought I'd pass it along. And she responded that she's like, oh my God, our dad used to make that sound at babies.
It's commonly thought that babies, as well as animals, can see spirits. They're not jaded yet. They're not fully in this world. They're not blocked off to everything that we as adults often are.
There's definitely a correlation between babies, toddlers, infants, and ghostly activity. I've received countless reports about children that claim to see entities in their home and even described deceased grandparents of their parents, which seemingly would be impossible unless they knew them. And in most cases, that wasn't the case.
It's not just spooks and specters that these cameras have picked up. In another instance, the parents of a baby named Connor captured some disturbing phenomena on their video monitor one night in 2016. The footage eventually went viral around the world.
It looks like there is some kind of invisible force holding this kid up on the railing. So I think that's pretty much a real deal.
What I think adds to the general creepiness is the blood-curdling shrieks of the child.
My reaction, I would have just made sure the baby was okay, and I probably would have geeked out a little bit and maybe put a EMF meter in there or did some EVP work in there, just in case.
He's crying beforehand, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs as he's crawling out. It's almost like he is already aware of whatever is in there. It could be a maternal entity coming to keep the baby from falling out of the crib and just reluctantly pushes it back in its crib for safety.
But what was it like for Connor's parents to witness this activity on their monitor?
My name is Chuck Booth. I am Connor's dad. We weren't watching the video live when it happened. We saw it the next morning. It was very hard to watch as a parent, knowing that your kid could have really severely hurt himself. Those screams were definitely the worst they'd ever been, that's for sure. I don't know what made him stand up on the crib rail, if it was balance, if it was aliens, if it was paranormal activity, I don't know. I just know that he did it, and it was pretty crazy and creepy. He hasn't done anything like that again. The next day we put him in a toddler bed, so it couldn't happen again.
Connor may be totally fine and possession-free, but parents, better keep an extra eye on those baby monitors. Who knows what other paranormal activity is hiding in those nurseries?
The remote camera is always watching.
Gaspé, Quebec is home to 4 national parks, making it a perfect place to stake out some of the beautiful wildlife that live in this coastal region of Canada. But all that unspoiled land may be hiding something known only to the darkest corners of the internet. In July of 2018, Audrey Frechette was out sightseeing with some of her friends when they came across a moose on the side of the road. They pulled over to get a better look at the majestic animal and record the sighting. But when Audrey returned home and watched over her footage, what she saw shook her to her core.
Oh, man.
What Audrey initially hadn't noticed while filming the moose was now all too real as she watched the video and put it online, where millions of other viewers also pointed out the terrifying creature.
This is a video that I watched over and over because I didn't know what I was seeing.
The thing that makes this clip scary is the fact that the woman didn't see it when she was taking the video. She was filming something else, and only upon watching it in the safety of her own home did she see something that seemed foreign. That's scary, and you're left like, whew, I just dodged a bullet.
It's thin, it doesn't seem like a forest creature that I recognize by any means. This is compelling footage of a potential cryptid, and it's definitely something that should be looked into further.
Oh, wow.
If I was that moose, I would definitely get out of there as quick as possible.
The more sparsely populated an area is, it's more likely for these unknown creatures to live and thrive, you know. So I tend to believe there's something there in that film. I just don't know what it is.
This particular video is very interesting because it does look like a creature known as the rake. It's all over the internet, it's all over social media, so anybody that has a mouse and a keyboard knows what the rake is.
The rake is a relatively new monster, with stories only first appearing on the internet around 2006. But since then, it's become the stuff of nightmares, taking its place amongst the more frightening legends. It's described as a strange, human-like creature with dark black eyes and can cause not just physical harm to those that it comes in contact with, but also psychological trauma.
The rake is an example of how the internet can just glob onto a story and turn it into an urban legend almost overnight.
People now having a place where they can put their footage, where they can interact with other people who perhaps have seen things like the rake or the other cryptids. And it really does give a little bit more legitimacy to the science behind cryptozoology and what exactly is going on out there.
The rake is an entity that was created on the internet, but that doesn't stop people from seeing it from time to time. There's a phenomenon known as tulpa, which is part of an ancient Tibetan practice that basically, in short, if enough people think about an entity, if enough people imagine a creature, they can will it to be.
Some of those stories are very chilling. The things that have happened and the deaths that were connected to this alleged creature, blood-curdling.
If the rake truly does now exist out there, perhaps willed into existence by millions of believers, you better think twice about venturing too deep into the Canadian woods.
Oh, wow.
Coming up, mysterious lights in the Midwest.
It's the strangest thing I've ever seen.
And a celebrity cryptid returns.
I don't know what this is.
Out of all the 50 states, Minnesota ranks low on the list to see an unidentified flying object, coming in at 37th. But UFOs can show up anytime, anywhere. And one Minnesota man may just have beaten the odds outside of a Walmart.
That is so weird.
On September 30th, 2018, Sean Davis was finishing up a shopping trip with his family at the Walmart in Shakopee, Minnesota, when he noticed something strange hovering in the night sky. He pulled out his phone to record the event.
I'm shooting a video of this at Walmart parking lot, and it's a perfect circle with the lights around it in the parking lot.
These rings in the sky have been appearing more and more.
I think this footage is compelling. You got 12 stationary lights. I've never really seen anything like that before.
You can see my kids. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen.
The guy videoing clearly believes he sees something. His kids clearly believe that he sees something, and he films it for a pretty long time, for a paranormal video at least.
I have seen something very similar in real life. I remember being atop the mountains in the Andes in Peru, and I was watching the night sky. And we're above cloud level at that point, so it's just purely open sky. And you could see these lights just kind of form. And when like 3 or 4 would form, and then 5 or 6, and then they'd start flashing different colors. And it was doing that for like a good hour and a half.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's not moving, it's just sitting perfectly still, right above the clouds. It's creepy.
I would have freaked out if I saw this. I would have been like screaming at it, be like, come down here, come and take me, abduct me. I want to be abducted. That would be kind of fun, I think. But I'm too big. I don't even think they would want me.
It's not moving either. Yeah, it's real. My zoom, I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit.
This is a pretty good video. It's clear, it's long, it's not shaky. You can get a very good look at what we're looking at. And I commend him for videoing as long as he did.
It's the weirdest thing.
Many videos of unusual lights in the sky are erratic because the lights bounce around or they appear and they disappear. This could be a genuine capture where the lights are very steady.
It's not moving at all. It's so weird. I don't know what it is.
We're starting to see more and more footage of UFOs as people put those cameras, point them at the sky, and I just feel like we're starting to get closer and closer to some actual answers about the UFO phenomenon.
This video will probably go viral now, but that's definitely something in the sky.
Sean wasn't the only one who witnessed the lights. When this clip went viral, more reports of sightings flooded in from around the area from others who also observed this extraordinary event in the sky. The lights were gone the next evening, which left many Minnesotans wondering if it's time to watch their skies a little closer.
It's the weirdest thing.
On the northern tip of Long Island, New York, lies the once sleepy fisherman's haven of Montauk. While its picturesque shoreline has become a sunny escape for city dwellers, this summertime paradise was recently rocked by a much darker kind of tourist. In 2008, a mysterious creature washed up on one of the sandy beaches, immediately causing an internet frenzy. No one had ever seen anything like it before, and the bloated, hairless corpse was dubbed the Montauk Monster.
The Montauk Monster is one of the more famous cryptids out there right now, and it's also one of the most recently discovered.
People online debated for months whether the Montauk Monster was a previously undiscovered cryptid that was finally seeing the light of day. But when the creature's body mysteriously disappeared before scientists could fully examine it, the debate over the existence of the Montauk Monster was never settled. But the story wasn't over yet. In the summer of 2016, a couple was taking a walk near the very same beach where the last body was found, when suddenly they stumbled across another carcass that looked eerily similar to that of the 2008 creature that sparked the original frenzy over the existence of the Montauk Monster.
We've come across a thing. It looks like the Montauk Monster again.
Similar to the first Montauk Monster, this grotesque specimen appeared to have webbed feet like a bird, coarse hair like a raccoon, and sharp, canine-esque teeth.
It looks horrifying, and it really is difficult to say it's any other creature other than the Montauk monster.
It's bloated. It looks like it washed out to sea. It appears to have bite marks on it.
Now, just seeing the carcass of this thing is terrifying, but if this was alive and coming at you with teeth, claws.
I thought it was a dog, but then when you actually look at it, it's not a dog because the face is it looks like the Montauk monster. It's exactly what it looks like.
What stuck out to me in this video is there's a difference between the original monster's jaw and the new monster. In the original, you see a very beak-like mouth, and in this, you can see really pronounced canines. And that's what I was first drawn to, was these really strong canines as the difference.
Holy it smells like I don't know what this is.
So where did this new creature come from? With over 80% of the ocean undiscovered, many suspect that it could be something from the deep that is just now washing up on our shores.
There is a large speculation that if there are cryptids, it's possible they reside in the ocean, and we're going to start seeing more and more of these creatures coming up as pollution and climate change occurs.
All right, well, you don't hear from me in a little while. The government take me to Plum Island to kill me, so.
The Plum Island he referred to here is the Animal Disease Center on an island offshore, which has been rife with conspiracy theories of secret experiments for decades.
It is a little bit of a perfect storm to have, the Animal Center for Disease just north of Montauk.
For the public, the proximity to this facility has added a new level of creepiness to the story of the Montauk monster.
There are still long-held rumors that the experiments that took place on that island, spread out and washed out to the shores of New York, resulting in the Montauk monster and possibly the creature we're seeing here today.
What else is still in there? What else is being tested? What are we creating? And I mean, it's a popular pop culture thing, but all right, Godzilla was created by our nuclear test, so are we part of this, or was this pre-existing us?
So, was this creature just the latest mutated experiment to escape from the labs at Plum Island? Or was this yet another specimen of some long-hidden cryptid in Montauk, once again emerging from the shadows? Whatever it is, the mystery of the Montauk monster lives on. Coming up, the face of fear. The historic town of Blackwood, Wales dates back to the early 19th century. Behind its seemingly happy exterior is a brutal past that includes worker uprisings that resulted in violent clashes during the Industrial Revolution. While things in Blackwood have quelled since those early days, there are still some remnants of that bloody time that may have hung around. One Blackwood resident, Elaine Hamer, and her daughter were in her kitchen playing around with the camera settings on her smartphone when they saw something that caught their attention.
Oh. It's our big one, bright one.
You can tell that these people saw the orb in real time, which is kind of unique because a lot of times people will watch this in hindsight. They'll watch a playback of the video and then they'll be like, there's an orb.
Look in the passage to a minute. There's a lot coming there. Go on.
A lot of people completely believe that orbs are human spirits floating around.
I do believe orbs are real. I've seen orbs of light with my naked eye. I've seen the phenomena.
This orb was especially active. You could see it darting around.
Oh, Christy! Oh, God.
As the women made their way through the house and I saw the, smoke or dust or whatever that was, it certainly caught my attention. I haven't seen anything like that in a home that seemed to just linger in the air like that. It was certainly strange.
What happened next was truly terrifying, as the orbs came together until what looked like a face was staring right back at the two women.
I've never seen anything like that morph into like an actual face. in real life. I would be a little afraid.
I think the fact that you could see very clearly something while the lights are on is kind of interesting, because usually with these ghost hunting videos, it's like night vision or like super dark, but this was a fully lit kitchen.
Elaine immediately showed this footage to her son-in-law, Jason, who lives right across the street.
My name is Jason Hughes. Just after it happened, my mother-in-law came over to see me. I was freaked right out. I thought, wow, that is some of the best footage I've ever seen. I know that they wouldn't have made it up because she's not very technically minded like that, you know?
The family says they have witnessed paranormal activity in and around this house before.
They've seen like orbs and stuff, and they heard one of the chairs move in the kitchen area. In the evenings, they feel uneasy.
They soon learned there may be an explanation for why this house could be haunted.
A few of the houses in the street do have like different things happen in their houses. I think it's because of the ground that the houses are built on, to be honest. From some research, what I've heard is there was a hanging tree on the site. The hangings ended, I think, early 1900s, but it's got quite a reputation around this area.
I have investigated places that have had hanging trees before, and the types of phenomena that you should expect from those areas would be body apparitions, like shadow people. What she's capturing and reacting to is a traumatized recording of residual energy.
Because of the amount of death that happened on the land, it is extremely possible that paranormal activity could retain itself in that specific area for a longer period of time.
We find ourselves building homes and businesses in places that probably shouldn't. Former cemeteries, burial grounds, places where tragedies took place. Anytime you build a home on cursed ground, you're setting yourself up for this kind of activity.
But are Elaine and the family worried about their newfound paranormal neighbors?
None of us are scared, really. It's not like malevolent or anything like that, even though the video looks, to me, it looks like a really horrible face going close to the camera. But no, they don't feel threatened or anything over there. It's just a little bit eerie, I think.
Coming up, a cryptid sighting under a bridge. And did a UFO save the planet? Originally situated along the right bank of the Dnieper River, Ukraine's capital city of Kiev has since spread to both sides of the waterway. As a result, over 8 bridges have popped up around the busy metropolis, making it easy for people to get from one side of the city to the other. But the rapid growth may have stirred something paranormal that is now adapting to the urban sprawl. A local man named Albert was out enjoying a summer evening stroll when some unusual activity under one of the bridges caught his attention. He decided to film it in the hopes of figuring out exactly what or who could be making such strange movements.
My first thought was, this is a beautiful shot. Maybe they're just doing stock photography. But then when they turned around, this thing under the bridge, what is that?
In the moment, Albert thought he was just seeing some reckless human daredevil getting a quick thrill. But when he reviewed the footage, he realized this may be a different kind of devil.
This just looks just strange enough that it seems inhuman.
It looks like it's crawling with his hands and feet underneath the bridge. He's not swinging like a human would.
There's all these seemingly happy, innocent people just walking across this bridge, and there's this golem-looking creature underneath, hanging on and sort of scurrying about.
There's 2 types of people in the world. People that go through life blindly and people that pay attention to every detail in their surroundings, and those are the people that see these weird entities.
There's all the old legends and fairy tales of trolls living under bridges. And I feel as man continues to expand into the wilderness and makes it his own, nature and wildlife will appropriate things for themselves too, to try to eke out an existence in our shadow.
It could be any number of things, but one thing it does remind me of, and it's not the first time that a cryptid has been seen around a bridge. Back in 1966, 4 teens were driving around Point Pleasant, West Virginia when they encountered a 7-foot-tall creature with bat-like wings and red eyes. They dubbed the creature the Mothman.
If I had to speculate, I would say this cryptid is the Ahul. The Ahul is a winged monster that was initially found in the jungles of Indonesia. Now, perhaps it has spread all the way to Kiev.
Could Albert have captured something that had been run out of its natural habitat? As humans have spread further into once inhospitable places, is it possible that these creatures are learning to adapt to new environments?
There's this idea that there's a natural world and then there's this urban world, and that they do not mix. But the thing is, humans and a lot of other animals evolved together alongside one another. So we can kind of coexist without knowing that they're even there.
We build the cities to be islands from the scary wilderness, right? And we forget that cities are their own habitats. I think it's funny that if we're going to believe that the forest has its monsters, that there wouldn't be the same in the cities. I don't think that adds up.
Albert has yet to spot the creature again, but that doesn't mean it's not still out there, lurking, just beneath the shadows. February 15th, 2013, in Chelyabinsk, Russia. As people were going about their day in the bustling city, one driver had his car's dash cam recording, which is the norm in Russia. When suddenly, from out of nowhere, a bright light, brighter than the sun itself, streaked across the sky, trailing smoke behind it. All of a sudden, there was a tremendous bang that caused a blast wave so powerful, it shattered windows and collapsed buildings. But did something otherworldly save the people from an even worse fate? That day, dash cams, smartphones, and security cameras all captured the strange phenomenon. The Russian locals, like Andrew Bennett, were confused and scared.
It was early in the morning. We see bright light from the street in the window. When I came to the window, I hear loud bang, loud explosive. My windows blow out, and we were very scared with my family. We thought this is another terrible act of terrorism, but a few hours later, government told us it was meteorite. It was something from the sky.
Where it was positioned, we could not detect it until it was basically upon us. So that, I think, was terrifying, first and foremost.
The impact of this meteor had the equivalent of 30 Hiroshima bombs. This thing was like 10,000 pounds. This thing was huge. You got this huge thing like flailing through the air, on fire, exploding. My God, it must be one of the most scariest things you could ever witness.
Careful examination of the videos that were shot revealed a shocking detail that defied easy explanation. Caught on camera was an unidentifiable object colliding with the meteor. The impact broke down the meteor further and lessened the damage on the ground.
If you look closely, you can see a small object come into frame and actually appears to touch the meteorite itself, causing it to fragment into pieces, altering the path of this particular meteorite.
We think this is something not from Earth, like aliens or something. Something helps us, because we have no technologies to shut down meteorites.
The Russian government denied any interaction. However, the public wasn't satisfied and continued to wonder what exactly happened to the meteor.
When any government is involved, our nature is to not fully trust our government because they're doing things that may or may not be in our best interests.
This footage is compelling. First, it reminds us we're surrounded by asteroids and they could hit Earth at any time. And second, what is it? What is the thing that went through and penetrated this meteorite and then separated it, broke it up into smaller pieces? It is definitely a UFO.
Some people feel that this was an interjection on the part of another species trying to help us.
Maybe if it is a UFO, it was trying to break up the meteor a little more than to lessen the impact of the stone. Nobody really knows what aliens are.
I can certainly understand why conspiracy theories would arise from this. We don't really have a definitive, proven explanation for what we see in the video.
I'm thankful for this because I think they could teach us to create technologies to shut down meteorites in the future because this is real. I've seen with my own eyes in the sky.
Wherever this UFO, or whatever it was, came from to break up the meteor, one thing is for certain. It may have rescued the people of Chelyabinsk from total annihilation. Coming up, hellfire in the woods. We often think we've seen it all when it comes to nature, but every now and then, the Earth can throw us something that seems to utterly defy explanation. Suddenly, the natural world seems to become totally supernatural. Back in 2015, a group of men were walking through the woods of Defiance, Ohio, and stumbled on just such a phenomenon, upending their very understanding of Mother Nature.
What the
As the men approached this tree, they realized something was amiss. No one else was around to corroborate what they were witnessing, but they had a camera at the ready to get proof of this confounding phenomenon.
What the
It just looks terrifying. It looks, almost like, something you'd see in the bowels of hell.
The fact that the tree's burning and nothing else around it is certainly eerie. It's almost, I want to say demonic.
People are fascinated with the idea of like the netherworld and hellfire. And so when they see such an old tree like this, just bellowing internally with these flames, it just gives them this whole like Dante's Inferno mentality.
I'm fine and slipped.
He thought he was seeing something paranormal, hence I feel like the falling, because he fell twice, I believe.
I'm fine and slipped. We better get up out of here before it gets worse.
This footage does remind us of the strange phenomenons that occur naturally in this world, and perhaps it can open your mind up a little bit to the idea of paranormal activity.
If you can believe in a tree on fire in the middle of the forest, why can't you believe in ghosts and things that can't be explained?
After seeing something like this, it would be hard not to question everything known about the natural world. There is a very rare possibility of nature causing this fire, but experts say it would require a random bolt of lightning striking exactly the right tree under the exactly right circumstances. Nearly impossible, as are the odds of being there to see it burning.
Dude, we smelled smoke when we bent the corner this morning and started working. What the
You would think if a tree got hit by lightning, the leaves would go first, and then it would slowly burn there. And sometimes trees do burn that way.
This just shows that nature is an amazing thing. The universe is working exactly the way it should, and it doesn't need to explain itself to us. It doesn't need to say, hey, human beings, it's all right, I got this. It's an amazing thing to see.
So why this exact tree, in this exact place, at this exact time? Was Mother Nature trying to tell these guys something? Was there a higher purpose at work?
In the work that I do, if I were to be walking through the forest and I happened upon this scene, I'm sure there are those who would take it as a sign, who would take it as something that was meant to be a message, something more than just a natural occurrence, something that has meaning.
It could certainly serve as a significant message to someone. Let's say you needed a sign of something. It could be interpreted as a sign of divine fire, a sign from God, in relation to an issue you're struggling with or a question that you want answered.
If I came across this tree in the woods, you gotta forge a sword in it. That sword would be magic. It would have huge amounts of power. The world's a magical, wild place.
What the?
Coming up, risking it all to see inside Area 51.
Put your hands up. I'm not going to tell you again.
There is one place in this world that attracts seekers of the paranormal like no other. It's one of the most famous sites in the United States that technically doesn't exist, depending on who you ask. It's the site of nuclear tests and 1,001 conspiracies. It is, of course, Area 51. For those looking for real, hardcore UFO and extraterrestrial evidence, this place may be the Holy Grail. But be warned, the government doesn't give up its deepest held secrets easily.
I've driven the extraterrestrial highway. I've gone to the black mailbox. I've eaten at the Little Alien Diner. And I've driven up to the fence line where Area 51 is bordered. Now, there's a lot of tales, a lot of mysteries about what happens in Area 51, but there's still a lot we don't know.
I think there's a lot of secret military things going on. There could be alien technology brought in from the crash in Roswell, and they claim these modern aircraft use some kind of technology that is not of this world.
Whatever they are hiding inside Area 51, many people have tried to sneak a peek at what's inside this top secret site that since the 1950s has grown to almost 600 square miles. Thanks to the often mountainous terrain that can't be fenced in, some alien-thirsty daredevils like these two have found open roads into the heart of Area 51.
Camo dudes. They were eyeballing us, man.
This father and son adventuring team had previously made trips to this back door into Area 51. But in May of 2016, they got a close encounter neither of them expected.
You ready? You ready? When we were here last time, that was about 4 months ago. We put a video up.
Hello, dudes. You good, kids?
Yours are still off. Whoa. Whoa. Uh-oh, we got things happening.
Stuff over here.
Yeah.
She has hands up. Put your hands up. I'm not going to tell you again. Turn around.
Meet the Camo Dudes, the affectionate name that Area 51 truth seekers have given the mysterious guards in unmarked white trucks who patrol the outskirts of the base.
Turn around.
And the Camo Dudes don't take too kindly to trespassers.
Spread your feet. Spread your feet. She's going all the way out here.
We're just adventure travelers. We're just adventure travelers.
Just adventure travelers?
Yeah.
Turn around. Turn around.
You're trespassing. They don't want you there. There's a reason why people work many years and jump through all the hoops to get clearance that high to be able to visit someplace like that.
We're going to give you guys a chance, okay? Get on your bikes, get the out of here. We'll call Lincoln County, and they'll write you each a $750 ticket.
Okay.
I think these guys got off easy. Anytime you're given a free pass to go away of your own recognizance, as a person who has been in places without permission myself, it's a good thing when you can walk away.
Sorry for the hassle, guys. We're just travelers. My bad.
Seeing a video like this doesn't make me want to turn around to go home. It makes me more curious. Now I want to know what's in there even more. I want to know what they're protecting, what they're hiding, what it is that's in there that is enough for these men to have guns pointed at them.
All right, let's do it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's my understanding that Area 51 is no longer the place where they house the aliens. It's a distraction site trying to get people to pay attention to Area 51 while they're holding the aliens elsewhere. So these guys, yeah, they got a gun pulled on them. It was pretty intense, but it might have all been for naught because I think they were in the wrong place.
Whether the aliens are being kept here or elsewhere, it's clear there is something inside Area 51 that the government doesn't want people to see. And the next paranormal thrill seeker who tries to peek inside may not walk away to tell about it.
Hands up. Put your hands up. I'm not going to tell you again.
What should you do in the event you witness something paranormal? Here are some tips to get it all on camera. Keep a steady hand even if you're scared. Check all your footage for something strange. Try to stay out of real trouble.
Put your hands up.
And if you do catch something, email us at submitparanormal@gmail.com. Your footage could be seen right here on Paranormal, Caught on Camera.